Yo, how's everybody doing? Cabbage Patch. Oh, thank you so kindly. Steve. How's it going, guys? Yeah, I do upload a lot of videos, it's true. It's true. Appreciate the kind words. But what can I say? I like talking about rugby. So, how's everybody doing? Lions v Blues tonight, or if you're watching this not live, whenever you're watching it, or wherever you're in the world, maybe it's morning. Um, yeah, I haven't seen this game on TV before. That'll be a first. I did go to the game all those years ago. Kia ora Jake, Rugby Rundown, Big Will, Ducks Quack, good name. Sam, yes, I tried to get a Blues one, but I couldn't find one. They were having a sale on, and they didn't have any Blues stock left. I guess the Blues stock, bro, is just all gone. They only had this Hurricanes stuff left. Hurricanes and Highlanders is all they had left. So, good morning, Mark. Tim, how is it going? I'm so glad you're working for this one. Yes, you're gonna miss this one. Jamie, how's it going? Yeah, like I was saying, I went to this game with the old boy back before I had a YouTube channel, so I didn't have to take camera gear around and do a review of it. But yeah, I went to the game, and I've never seen it on TV. It's not in HD, it's like 360p or something, so that's not ideal, but hey, what can I say? I wanted to watch it. Big Will suggested, I think, Chiefs against the Lions, was it? That was one of the ones, but yeah, anyway. No Gaza today, but he was at the game when I was there in real life, so yeah. Rugby opinion, I am good. Can I see myself in the crowd? I don't think so. I doubt it, but if anyone spots me, let me know. I was at one of the ends. Yeah, one of the ends up on like the second level. Actually, yeah, it was with the old boy. Thinking it was with my mum. No, I took my mum to a Wallabies game, I think, the same year. So, yeah, on the kiss cam with the old boy. Goodness me. He was lucky I bought him a ticket, man. Chiefs v Wales. Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah. Is that one on YouTube? I'll have to have a look. Anyway, I think let's get cracking. The link is in the description. I'm going to skip to 8 minutes. 8 minutes, because that's where the Blues haka is. There's like 8 minutes of pre-match stuff. They go through the lineups. To be honest, I just watched it. I don't know how the bloody Blues put up a fight in this game, because it's a good-looking Lions outfit compared to some of the names in the Blues. No offense to my own Blues team. But, oh well, we'll see. We will see. Can't remember this game. Biggest memory is Sonny Bill getting the red in the test. Yeah, this was one of the earliest games. I think the second game of the tour. Not corporate seats. Hell no, Mark. I was in the cheap seats. Down the end. Freezing cold. Not freezing cold. It had been raining. I remember that. But I was just happy to get tickets, man, because I missed out on all the tickets to the actual tests. This is the only game I got to see. They only just sold this game out from memory. Greenish from Germany says, Hans, I'm good. Hope everyone else is good too. Bradley, good to be back. Haven't made it to a stream for a while. Well, it's a Wednesday one by popular demand. So, yeah. Jet lag for the Lions, says Mark, 100%. That's true. And remember, the squad had only been together a relatively short time. I think they only played one game before this. So, on paper, they're a fantastic team. But in terms of their chemistry and, like you say, jet lag and whatnot, maybe not the best. All right. So I'm skipping to 8 minutes. 8 minutes, and I'm gonna push play in, if I can find my mouse. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and let's get going. Ihaya West looks like he is gonna lead their haka. All you need to remember about this game is the commentary screaming Ihaya West. Ihaya West gets a lot of stick, but if nothing else, the guy is quick. Guy is quick. What do you think of future of Super Rugby? Well, right now, the future ain't looking that bright, is it? Ian Foster, who I almost called Steve Foster again, has been throwing some stones at the Aussies. Blues had a decent team. A decent team. Like Akira Iwane was kind of emerging. Rico Iwane was emerging. Michael Collins at the fullback, like solid but not spectacular. He's no Lee Halfpenny. Perafeta was like in his first season with the Blues. Yeah. So Scott Scrafton, like yeah. Itoje, he's playing in this game. The Sheriff is captain. They got Tipperix playing. Reese Webb's playing. Yeah, man, it's a good team. It's a good team. What's up with the blue stuff and then a Hurricanes jacket? I wanted to be wearing blues, but it's a bit cold. So I'm being a bit of a sook and I put a jacket on. I couldn't find this jacket in blues. So, yeah, no, it's a bit of a mixed bag. Went to the first Lions Test 2017. At least we won that game. I love the Lions. Fans were all awesome. I had a drink with them afterwards. I remember that from even back in 2005 when all the Lions fans were here. Like, they were always real jovial and stuff around the pub, so it was good. I remember this game where Rico Ioane showed the world who he was. Yeah, I think he went on to make the All Blacks, right? He was kind of a real emerging talent at this point. Love the jacket. If nothing else, this jacket is bloody warm, honestly. I figure I'm not going to move for the next 2 hours, so I might as well get myself toasty. What do you think of the Blues haka? That was pretty good, eh? It was a nice little. It was a nice little extra feature that all the Super Rugby teams did a haka, and they also wore like a one-off jersey called like the territory jerseys, and it was like a map of their region. And we're about to kick off, by the way. And there it goes. Kickoff has just happened. Um, but one little, I've mentioned this before, but one little fun fact about the jerseys is all of the jerseys had like a little highlight on where the stadium is. So like Eden Park for the Blues, the Cake Tin for the Hurricanes. But they got the map wrong. Instead of Eden Park, they put it Mount Eden Prison. So yeah, the Blues territory map actually points out a prison rather than um, Eden Park. Half a minute in. Lions fans in South Africa were terrible when they toured. What? I guess it's been a while. Constant tension in pubs. That's not ideal, man. I like how the match has barely started and Dan Big is already yelling. That guy gets a fair bit of stick for that. Place where I can get a new Crusaders jersey. Um, Generally, one of the cheapest places to get gear is Lovell Rugby. They're not bad, but the shipping can be a killer because it's coming from the UK. Bro, otherwise just go second hand. That's how I've collected a lot of jerseys. Don't have to buy them new. Nobody knows it's second hand unless you tell them. I can hear the crowd. They're getting into it. Ooh, but Akira and Blake Gibson almost had them in a choke tackle. I went to the 2005 Lions tour when I was so young and was held by all the Lions. How can you be wearing a jacket in New Zealand, mate? I swear you must be taking the pass of Cara Drass, a Lord of the Rings reference. To be honest, Auckland doesn't get very cold. Oh, here go the Lions there for 6 meters. Auckland doesn't get very cold, and they very seldom need a jacket like this. I wore this out the other day. Blues won a penalty. Good stuff, boys. And I went for a walk with the missus for like 10 minutes, and I was boiling hot. I immediately regretted this jacket, but I figure if I ever go somewhere a bit cold, a warm jacket can't be a bad thing. Who is the best commentary team in rugby? I don't know about team, but I do like Matt Pierce from Supersport. That guy seems to do his homework, unlike a lot of other commentators who tend to just show up, seemingly. There's a few empty seats there. I thought they sold this one out, but only last minute. There goes the phone. I ain't getting it. Ooh. Jeez, that was close. That's the end that I'm sitting down there. Jared Payne. Have you started watching yet? Yes, I'm at. Because we skipped the first 8 minutes, which was all pre-match. 14 minutes and 20 seconds. 14 minutes 20. So the game clock is 3 minutes and 45. Meeting time. Catch this vid later. All right, William. Take care, bro. Funny how the Blues won, but the Crusaders lost to the Lions. Didn't. Wait, how did the other games go? Wasn't there one other Super Rugby team that got a win, or was it a draw? Was it the Hurricanes that got a draw? So far, it's all been played down in the Blues half. Anyway, the Blues are kind of almost doing an intercept. There goes Rico. Ooh, a bit messy. It's a bit scrappy. Yeah. Still got a home phone. It came with a bundle, man. Internet, phone. I don't know, some nonsense. Stream resolution is looking pretty good. Are you using a different camera? Nah, this is the same camera. Maybe just the light's a bit better. The only different camera I use is when I film at the matches. I take out the old mirrorless camera. I prefer this color for Blues jersey, says Rugby Rundown. I've also generally preferred the darker blues to the quite light blues. But that being said, I prefer this jersey to the previous year's one. Did you go to Pacifica doubleheader in 2017? I flew in for the Lions tour and then found out. No, I didn't, actually. I don't remember why I didn't. But no, I didn't. Hard luck to you, Bluesman Crusaders. Just seem like the ABs. Yeah. Robertson surely a shoe in for the All Blacks coach. The guy knows his stuff, man. The Crusaders, especially at home, are something of a beast. And also, the big V8 show, I've plugged the internet into the Ethernet cable rather than the Wi-Fi, so that might be a factor as well. Maybe it's just faster internet. Since when was Sonny Bill a turnover machine? I think Sonny Bill had a pretty decent year this year. Like this year? I can't really remember. 2017 seems like a long time ago now. Right, 6.5 minutes on the game clock. And the Blues have actually got a chance to do some attacking. Here goes Rico. Bro, he is fast. I think he's faster there than he is now. Is it just me, or does he not have that same... Does he not have those same wheels now? Like, man, he put the hammer down and he was just gone. What a try. That was down the other end from me at the game, so I don't remember seeing that one that well. Was it me that said they tried changing the Highlanders to green? Yeah, one year they wanted to change the Highlanders main strip to green, and then there was a bit of a backlash, so they switched it to back to blue and made the away jersey green. I think if you Google it, you can probably find the old news stories a long time ago now. And look at him. He was quicker back then, says Big Will. What's up with that, man? He's not old. I mean, he's like 20 here. But he's not exactly old now. Yeah, Rico has lost some pace, says Finn. Yeah, it just seems to be a thing. Don't know why. Usually it's a bit later than his current age. Once Rico gets up to speed, I think he's as fast as ever, but his acceleration was just something else from 2018. You might be right. Maybe he's still got the pace, but just not the acceleration. Whereas Ehio West has always had the acceleration, maybe not top end speed. Ooh, what a terrible kick. 5-0. Rico was playing sevens that year? Probably. Starting Lions front row 2021. Ooh. I like to think it'll be Tyke Furlong with his spuds. He's still young enough. Still pretty young for a prop. Probably Jamie George. And Loose Head is a bit more tricky. He did noticeably slow down, but he is looking good at number 13, says Owen. You might be right, man. I think also he does look visibly slower. Oh, goodness me, the Blues handling. Come on, guys. I think I had money on this game as well. I think it was the Blues with a point start, so I probably did all right. Do you plan to go to the North-South game at Eden Park? Seems like tickets go on sale tomorrow. Bro, that's a hell of a heads up. I will have a look to see if I can get me a ticket. I've never been to a North-South game, so that would be awesome. Thank you for the tip, because I wasn't aware of that. When's the next Twitch stream? I'm not sure with the Twitch, eh? I need to figure out how to put that into the schedule. I was doing it Mondays, but now that rugby's back on, I have to do dream teams on a Monday, so it's a bit tougher. Oh, Mark, man. Cheers, brother. Go Leinster and the Lions. What's the news on when the Pro 14 is going to get back underway, man? I should say I'm still nursing this wine. I've only been drinking wine when I've been streaming rugby, so God knows how old this wine is now. It doesn't go off, does it? Thank you, sir. Hope you're doing well in Seattle still. Is that Jared Payne in the corner? 10 phases. 27 August, Leinster v Munster. That's a tasty game to be getting back underway. Am I assuming behind closed doors? Be correct? I hear DC will be on the bench this weekend, Barrett to 10. They had James Parsons on the radio just an hour ago, and he would not give a bloody hint about anything. The host was trying to pressure him to give some information. Here's this try. Peter Fetter's trying to get him into touch. Was he out? Slow-mo from the other side. Does his foot touch the whitewash? It looks like it. I think it's not going to be a try. Pro 14 resumes in August. And to hell with Leinster. I've actually got quite a lot of Leinster gear now. What can I say? Yeah, that's not going to be a try. I always felt sorry for the Lions players because their clubs won't release them early for a Lions tour, so they don't really get enough preparation time. I mean, they flew into New Zealand on a Wednesday and played on Saturday. It's ridiculous, I agree. And they're making it shorter every time. It's really getting more and more truncated. I don't know how they're supposed to get any kind of team cohesion. Yeah, they're not going to allow it. No try. Big Will's got it right. Good defense from Perofeta. He probably should have scored that one. Perifeta's not that big a guy. Man, all those empty seats are really jarring. I do not remember that from the time. I remember they were struggling with ticket sales, and I seem to remember they sold it out on the day, but yeah, there's a lot of empty seats there. Bro, if you can't sell out a Lions tour, what are you going to sell out? Anyway, is what it is. It's 3 years ago. Do you think the British and Irish Lions and Barbarians are still needed, or are they? I enjoy them, man. What can I say? And I know for New Zealand, South Africa, and Australia, they're a hell of a financial boost. So doesn't do the likes of Argentina or France any good. But yeah, I still enjoy them. Petafeta might not be the biggest, but I've always felt he's a decent spot tackler. Well, bro, you have apparently been justified in that thinking with that tackle he put in just then. During Rugby World Cup, Sanzar cuts half the Rugby Championship game, so why can't the North do that in a Lions year so their team is better prepared? I think the Six Nations is already done by that point, and it's more the clubs. The clubs over there get a bit more protective of their players because a lot of them are not on kind of central contracts, right? So yeah, they don't have as much sway. The clubs mainly only care about the clubs, which is, I guess, fair because they want their best players to win the games because that means the bottom line. Probably because people thought it was the South African Lions team, bro. That's a sad state of affairs if that's the case, but you might be right. Back when Tana Umanga was still the head coach. Professional rugby is becoming more like football, with the clubs having more influence than the country, which is a sad state of affairs. Why can't we all just get along, right? Just get it so something works for everybody. But I think the clubs seem to think it's good the way it is, so don't change it. But I don't know. Well, that's a bit above my pay grade. Big Will says he loves watching the Lions, especially the supporters. Yeah, the supporters are a huge part of what makes the Lions such a special thing. Flesh and says it's all the clubs. Yeah. I mean, if I was the boss of the club, would you want to give up your best players that you're paying the contracts of? I don't know. Probably not. You like to think people can see kind of the greater good, but not really. What really irks me about your Adidas club jerseys in New Zealand is that they look amazing, whereas here ours are bang average. If you saw Munsters this season, it's boring. Well, if it adds any context, they all pretty much feel the same. Adidas, I think, essentially makes one jersey and just changes the pattern and changes the sponsors. And I think the Super Rugby jerseys have been a bit hit and miss. The New Zealand away jerseys this year have been particularly bad. Why do you think rugby players are all put through the same cookie cutter media training comes off bland? That's why if you listen to Alice Genge talk, that guy's refreshingly honest. There's a few of them like that, but yeah, most of them just speak the same nonsense, don't they? That's probably the closest shot you'll get to any shot of me at this game. A high drone shot up in that corner. Some people say it's just adding extra games into an already tight schedule. Speaking of the Lions tours and Barbarians, that is a factor. But usually during Lions tours, these guys would be off playing with their countries, right? Wow, Lions went close there. This is the closest that would have been to right in front of where I was sitting. I was up in the second level. So this I would have had a pretty good view of. Up until this point, I probably didn't have a good view of much. Be good if they did a reverse Lions tour with the Sansa teams forming a team. Yeah, the closest we get to that is a Barbars team, eh? Penalty for the Lions. Did you know Adidas stands for All Day I Dream About Sports? I don't believe that's true. I think that's a happy coincidence. I'm pretty sure Adidas was founded by a German fella named Adi Dassler, so it's like his name's put together. When I was in school, they used to say it was all day I dream about sex. When I want my son to wear his Adidas jacket, which he's not fond of, I tell him it's all day I dream about spaceships, and he loves that idea. What can I say? Right, Lions turn down the shot at 3. They want tries. Blues' mall defense is surprisingly good. That should be a try. It is. Am I drunk? Bro, hardly. I've just started drinking 1 glass of wine. For the time, CJ Thunder's just scored a try. The match clock is at 17:30. YouTube is at just after half an hour. The breakdown looks super slow compared to what we currently see. I think that's a fair point. Maybe that's some of the rules that World Rugby is putting in to alleviate that kind of stuff. And Jasmine has also just reiterated the Adi Dassler thing, so there we go. I must have heard right. Are you following the overhaul of the Bulls by Jake White? I do read that every now and again that they've signed this player, let go this player. I haven't been following it with a fine tooth comb, but yes, the updates mainly I've been following. Is there any new ones? 2 brothers set up Adidas had a falling out. 1 brother set up Puma. Is that a thing? Right, Lions are in the lead. 7 points to 5. Half pennies kicked the conversion. Your take on the breakdown. Oh, I didn't watch it. I didn't watch this week's one. It's on YouTube, so I might have to watch it. They put a particularly amusing screenshot of John Kerwin in an awkward moment, so I might have to go and watch it. Good point about the jerseys. You disagree. I was in a sports store recently that sells your jerseys, and I wanted to buy any one of them, especially the Blues or the Chiefs. The main thing that grinds my gears, man, about the Blues ones is they have this bloody big green blob, which doesn't stand out that much in the current light, but I think it looks terrible. In this game, it sticks out more. Kia ora, April. How's it going in the UK? Shouldn't you be at work, or are you working from home? Tians, hey, 2 cents. How's your Wednesday going so far? It's pretty late into my Wednesday. It's almost 9 o'clock in the evening. Had a day at work. I got some work done. Bit of messy hands here. And, oh, we did a Matariki celebration today at my kid's daycare, so I popped in for that. That was good. Which is like a what's the closest thing for Matariki? Like, it's like the Maori version of Christmas if you wanted to really dumb it down. I don't know that much about the background. I know it's like a traditional story about stars, and I think like Maui and his wife. His wife's name is Matariki. I think someone can explain it definitely better than me. Did you see Jeff Wilson diss Adi Savia on the weekend, left him hanging? Yes, I retweeted a tweet about that where he did the same thing to Matt Todd. Matt Todd's like this, and Jeff Wilson's just like, and we cut to camera. Left him hanging. April's packing. Almost close your business. You'll be unemployed soon. Unemployed but in a new house, so you'll be happy, I think. It's not as bad as Ireland Vodafone logo. That one is pretty intrusive as well. A big red blob on a green jersey. South Africa, it's 11 a.m. Not bad. Still got lunch to have, man. Yeah, game clock at the moment is at 20 minutes and 12 seconds. Lee Halfpenny looks to be putting a contact lens in. YouTube clock is 34:10. First time Jeff Wilson has been on TikTok. Isn't TikTok getting banned in some places? Got to do some courses to learn how to build a straw bale house. I got no idea how to do that. But that's all good. I mean, I actually quite like the idea of doing the old games on a Wednesday. I don't know if it'll be every Wednesday, like every second Wednesday, but yeah. Otherwise, I just won't watch them. Like I was literally at this game I was saying earlier, but I've never sat down to watch it on the telly. What grinds my gears is that some of the Ireland training kits forego the red blob in the middle. True. Even the AIG logo looked out of the place for a year or two. I was lucky enough to buy one of the All Blacks jerseys like just before they got sponsored by AIG, so I've still got one without the big blob. India's banning it, right? Well, India and China don't have the best relationship, so that I guess that makes sense. I guess it's fair because China has been banning other people's apps for years. So this time, it's kind of the shoe on the other foot. You can't access Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, all that stuff in China. Didn't one of the three little piggies build a straw house? The first little piggy, that's true. I tried telling that story to my daughter, who's 2, and she got scared. Yep, she was scared of the wolf. Right, we're getting back underway with a bit of a scrum. It's gone down, but the ref is going to let things play. Collins is back there, safe pair of hands. You took the AIG off your jersey. How did you do that? Did you just peel it off? Was that easy? Man, Duffy just took a quick line out to himself. And that was probably a bad idea because his kick's going bloody nowhere. His kicking game always kind of pisses me off, to be honest. Nice guy, but yeah. What's that about you can't use Twitter and YouTube in China? Yeah, bro, it's been blocked for years. Years. I moved to China 2008, and I was able to use Facebook for like the first year maybe, and then it was blocked. I think YouTube was similar. Yeah. I did continue my YouTubing before I had 1,000 subscribers. I did some videos from China, but I was using ExpressVPN, so I was still able to upload my content. Is it a bad that I've never noticed the big red blob on the Irish jersey? No, I literally can't unsee it, bro. Once you've seen it, you can't unsee it. That's true. I don't think I mind the sponsors as much as some people. Like I know some Stormers fans hate the big yellow DHL, but it's been there so long I've almost gotten immune to it. Whereas I still don't like the green on the Blues jersey. How about Barrett versus Barrett at the weekend? That will be a fascinating one. Who am I backing? Well, I back the Blues, obviously, but we'll see. Still 7 points to 5 in favour of the Lions at the minute. Let's call it what it is. NZRU wanting an All Blacks trial match. And I think a bit of coin. Oh, the Lions have won a scrum penalty. Tuanga Fussy back when he was a bit of a whippersnapper. And sure enough, the Lions will take a shot at goal. I was intrigued to learn about the origins of the Highlanders of Dunedin because the area was visited by Scottish settlers in the 1700s. And Dunedin is a short version of Dun Ideen. I didn't know the second part. I knew there were Scottish settlers, that's for sure. I think most Kiwis associate, like Christchurch has got a real English feel, Dunedin a real Scottish feel. But you'd have to be probably from New Zealand to know that, otherwise you'd have no idea. But yeah, it's pretty cool, eh? Dunedin is Scottish Gaelic for Edinburgh. Bro, awesome. I'm learning stuff today too. Halfpenny's kicked that one. Lions are looking good. I just saw the flashing advertising, and this was the year that the slogan for Super Rugby was Super Boom Boom. Super Boom Boom. Yeah. So do the Chiefs have a chance to take the title, or are they out of it? They would have to win all their games with a bonus point, probably, and hope that the Crusaders don't pick up any more points, I think. The Stormers jersey has never been that much to look at. It always looks like a laundry detergent brand. They need to get a laundry detergent brand to be their sponsor instead of DHL. Surf. The Surf Stormers. Bro, that's a natural fit, man. Big waves. Chiefs are the wooden spooners this season, as long as it ain't the Blues, man. Can't see anyone toppling the Crusaders. Who do you reckon is the best 15 for the All Blacks? You got D-Mac, Bodie, Geordie, Will Jordan. On form, probably Will Jordan, man, or Bodie. Not Bodie, or Geordie. I don't even know if Bodie's better than Geordie at the minute. But Geordie went from really top stuff in that first game against the Chiefs. He did have a couple of clangers in his second game, which is typical Geordie. It's unfair they reduced the amount of games for the South African tour, yet they went ham with the games New Zealand won. I don't think it's a good look either. I heard about that when they signed Warren Gatland as coach ages ago, that the tour was going to be really truncated, and it takes away some of the value of it, I think. Crusaders not getting any points is a big ask. I agree. Well, the Crusaders are 4 from 4. The best the Chiefs can get is 4 from 8. So they would need the Crusaders, I think, not to win anymore. Gatland's worrying about 2 jobs at the moment. It could be right flashing. And April says, why the Chiefs are bad? I think it's a combination of things, eh? Injuries, they have got the worst injury list. But also, potentially, a coach that's thinking about next year, and players who are thinking, this guy's not my coach next year. So maybe they're getting mixed messages from the coaching staff. I don't know. It's always tough when you know your boss is leaving. If you know your boss is leaving and you know that person's your next boss, who are you trying to kind of, I don't want to say brown nose, but who are you trying to impress? Did you feel pretty safe living in China? Oh yeah, for sure. Safer than New Zealand. I never felt like someone was gonna drunkenly smack my head in at night. I've had that not happen to me, but I've had a couple of mates get mugged and stuff in Auckland. China's more just like petty crime, like pickpockets. I got my pocket picked once in China. I lost a cell phone in like 2008. Wasn't a particularly good phone. Oh, this game's it's getting a bit scrappy. Line out maul time, scrum time. Second rows is what we need. I agree. We got plenty of fullbacks, plenty of wingers. Did you check out Juice WRLD's new album, Legends Never Die? No. If it's new music, probably not. I'm definitely getting old. New Zealand is really light on locks right now. Yeah, I don't think Sam Whitelock has looked at his best, but he's just back from Japan. Brody Retilak's not playing at the moment. Tuipulotu has stepped up, which is refreshing. But after that, who's the next? Like, oh, Scott Barrett, obviously, but he's been injured. But then, yeah, it's a bit of a dodgy one. The thing about rugby is defined as a game played with an oval ball that the Crusaders always win. Yeah, pretty much. Believe it or not, in the first year of Super Rugby, the Crusaders were rubbish. Didn't last long, they did it. Didn't last long at all. Half an hour gone. It's still 10 points to 5. I think the Lions have had the better of the game. Remember, the Blues this year didn't even make the Super Rugby playoffs. Blackwell might be worth a shout. Yeah, no, you're right. Of all the guys who are kind of like the pretenders, the contenders, whatever it is, he has been one of the better ones for sure. Oh, yeah. Jared Payne ran in front of Haskell. So that's just rust, eh? These guys haven't played together. Whitelock hasn't been at his best for a while. Robertson has relied on him and played him too much. Yeah. How old is he now? He must be getting on. I think he probably needed a full season in Japan, eh? Or at least a sabbatical. Take a bit of time off, but he seemed really keen to get back into things. Ian Foster has his work cut out for him. I mean, he's still pretty blessed in a lot of positions, eh? But he's just got to get it all to click. And hopefully not pick guys on reputation. He's going to have to identify who are the next players that he needs to blood. Because that's been a bit of a hit and miss thing for some of the All Blacks. And yeah, Fleshen's right. With Robertson waiting in the wings, he will have to be well on form. Unfortunately for Gatland, he's kind of played himself out of the All Blacks race with the way his team is going at the minute. Realistically, will there be any internationals this year? The COVID-19 thing here in Oz isn't the greatest, and the border rules into New Zealand seem very strict. Yeah, man, it's tough. I think it would be possible for them to get internationals here, but the logistics of it would be horrendous to organize. To move like a 30-40 man squad here, plus all the support staff who have to be isolated for 2 weeks, but possibly given the chance to somehow keep training and keep fit, like access to a gym where they're not going to be interacting with other people. Very difficult. I don't know how the Western Force are doing it. That might be a good example to look at because they've got guys like Peck Cowan, who's come back from overseas, and has had to blend in with the squad. Like he couldn't play last week's game because he was still in quarantine. I don't know how they're doing it. It's not as big a deal when it's just a few players rather than a whole team, but there might be some learnings there. I don't know. Putty Parkinson looking the part. He is. Him and Blackwell are probably the two main guys. Arcoy was looking alright for the Chiefs, but I think he needs a good Super Rugby season under his belt before you chuck him into anything higher. April says touring teams would have to quarantine in New Zealand and hope for no injuries. Yeah, so they'd probably have to bring a massive squad to account for any potential injuries, eh? Foster Neals to deal with player retirements, exodus of players to Europe, rapidly rising Springbok side, and some signs of potential in the Aussie camp. New coach in the under-20s talent. Yeah. He's got to get rid of the dead wood, promote some of the young guys, not just pick guys on reputation. There's lots of things to consider. Having the Chiefs had a lot of injuries, which could also point to Gatland's training. Yeah, the Chiefs have got a ton of injuries, mate, and it's the Chiefs every bloody year, so it's not even a Gatland factor. It's just whatever they put in the water in Hamilton, seemingly. This game's gotten a bit... it's continuing on its slightly scrappy feel, but again, probably to be expected, given that it's their second game for the Lions, and for a lot of these guys, probably their first game because they wouldn't have played in the first game. Bro, what the hell just happened there? What? What? Rico kicked it. Oh, I need to see this. This seems weird. Play almost stopped. I don't remember this at all. The kick didn't go out. Personally, how do you think Foster will do? I think he'll do okay, man. Any coach with their salt should be able to take that All Black squad and be at least a pretty good team, man. Warren Gatland is a bit of a disciplinarian when it comes to training. Rico kicked it. Yeah, offside by a bleeding mile. I think Foster deserves the AB's job, but I'm not sold on Sam Cane. He hasn't been anything special, and he's really the first pick 7. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of first choice that Foster had to make, is who was going to be AB's captain, and he went with Kane. But I guess you could argue that both of those guys have kind of paid their dues, because Sam Cane has been the prospective captain for a long time. They've decided to give it to him, kind of based on time served, and then same with Foster. He pushed the Welsh boys to compete with each other, so they could get more hours gymming and training. No wonder Jamie Roberts was so large. Maybe Jesse Parate can come through the second row in the future. Maybe. I always feel like his discipline lets him down a bit. What was that numpty thinking there? Well, offside, yeah. Very much so. Frizzell has to be in the mix. Yeah, he wants to play 6, though. I think he's probably one of the leading candidates for 6. Brad Moore was incredible in his first season with the Scarlets. Got him to see him go, so I wouldn't be too worried about the All Blacks' future, to be honest. Interestingly, that's one of the things that's been a bit of a controversial one in that players survey they did on some of the players in New Zealand rugby, as to, like, did they get the All Blacks appointment right? And some of the people said yes, but they didn't agree with the assistants. Whether they were pointing to Moore or Plumtree, who knows? Sam Cane was tested as captain in 2015 after McCall retired. It's the right time, I think. Yeah, they've definitely been giving him kind of tastes of it, and they put him in the leadership group really early. Whoa, handbags. Big time handbags. Is that Dan Cole and Akira? Bro, I don't remember any of this. This is all a blur. Everyone's acting like the ABs have a rigorous test schedule this year. Yeah, no. He's telling them to just settle down. Be good. Anyone can think otherwise, but to me, this greatest scrum half in the world was barely used at international level as Brad Weber. Don't be surprised if he makes a big money move. I think last year he was probably our form number 9, and he just barely snuck into the World Cup squad. They didn't really use him, but this year he's not been the same level. But then that's the true of most of the Chiefs squad. Akira has such an attitude issue. Interestingly, I do remember at this time wondering which is going to be the first Ioane brother to crack the All Blacks. Will it be Akira or will it be Rico? Because Akira had been around a lot longer at this point, and he'd been really good, but really fiery, which he's not really managed to get under control. Sam Cane is probably more of an off-the-ball worker, right? I mean, watching, I never really saw Sia Khaleesi's significance, but his player cam shows there was a big impact that he had. That's the kind of thing you'll probably notice if you just watch one player as much as you can. Apparently, that's what Graham Henry used to do. He would just watch one player. How quick does he get up off the ground? How quick does he? Ooh, it's piddling down. Rico only had one game at the Rugby World Cup. He wasn't the form winger. Hello, Lindsay. Dane Coles has attitude issues as well. That's very true. He was voted the biggest grub by all the other New Zealand players. Well, the ones who took the survey. Almost half time. 10 points to 5. Facts, we have too many great wingers and fullbacks. I think that's probably where we have the most depth, actually. Jeez, Collins only just made that mark. Can't stand Bradley as a purpose and sent me some really messed up Instagram messages on domestic violence. What? I think you mentioned something about that before. I didn't remember it was about domestic violence. I know he's tweeted about some pretty political stuff before, more than most rugby players would. Weather seems to have gone for the dogs. I feel for your past self in the crowd. Indeed, I was definitely not undercover. Mark had not sent me a Leinster poncho. So I was probably... I was in a New York Islanders jacket, getting rather wet. And it's not waterproof, it's more like a shower-proof one. But I think I got pretty wet. But it's the British and Irish Lions, man. If we got to get wet, I guess that's worth the price of admission. Just chatting to my mate, he went down for this tour and said he was pissed and jet lagged. Never made this game. Empty seats, not the only Lions fan like that. The human mind is pretty prone to bad memory lapses, but I do seem to remember they sold this game out at the last minute. They were really pushing tickets right until the end, and then they were relieved that they sold it out. But as I speak, there's flashes of memory coming back to me saying that like maybe a tour bus got like stuck from Whangarei, which is up north, on the drive down to Auckland. It broke down. Maybe, but that still seems like a lot of unaccounted seats. But yeah, maybe just some jet lag people. Don't know. The links some people go to justify their mates hitting women is why it's so bad. Oh yeah, yeah. You shouldn't be hitting anybody. Realistically, it's not a good look. We got it pretty bad here in New Zealand for that actually. Dag was in good form when he played for the Highlanders. Only ever got put in the ABs when he got to the Crusaders. Slade was overrated. Still got to the start. And Sonny Bill played for them because he knew it was a direct path to the ABs. Oh man, I think Duffy's just knocked himself out on Halfpenny's elbow. Goodness me. He slid into that one. Peter Fetter's got another chance. His first kick was a shocker. I can't remember if he gets this one. Oh, off the post. Bro, is that a try? How do I not remember any of this stuff? Players really have to look out with that being opinionated stuff. They need proper publicists. Look at Falau. Could have great run, just run his mouth. Yeah, it's a hard one because the guys need to balance doing the right thing with stuff, but also, I guess, like not like being a good role model and all that kind of jazz. Is that a wow? It looks like Sonny Bill got his hand to it first. What happens here? Who'd that come off? Does that come off a Blues hand? Is it knocked backwards by the Lions or knocked forward by the Blues? Is this game on YouTube? Yeah, I put the link in the description. It's not in HD, to be honest, but it's the only copy that I could find. The YouTube clock is at an hour, 1 minute, and 45 seconds. Too much red wine, bro. Do I honestly sound that drunk? People sometimes accuse me of being drunk, I swear. I've only had like one glass of wine. Maybe it's just my brain can't multitask between watching the rugby, reading the comments, and running my mouth at the same time. What do I have on the game clock? The game clock at the moment is not on my screen because they're still looking if it's a try or not. But the YouTube clock is 1 hour, 2 minutes, and 20 seconds. You were too cold to focus, bro. Probably why you can't remember all that. Also, I was sitting right down the other end, so I was probably looking at the big screen to see if I could actually see anything. That's a try for me. I don't really remember this game for some reason. So they're going to give the try, surely. May award the try. Wow. That is what you call a fluky try. That is a fluke. Like he hits the post. Somehow Sonny Bill managed to scramble back. Oh, goodness me. Talia has some pace, but his reads are pretty bad. He got played like a fiddle by Moonga on Saturday. I think Moonga wasn't that good in the first half, but in the second half, yeah, he did make the Blues look pretty silly. Is that a Sky Sports jacket, Prashanth? No, it's it's just a Hurricanes jacket. But I do need to get Sky Sport put on the sleeve so they will mistake me for the real media when I go to a game. Whereabouts am I up to? It's just hit half time. The YouTube clock is at 1 hour and 4 minutes. I'm probably going to skip the halftime show and go into the second half. So let's have a look. Yeah, I'm going to skip through to 1 hour and 8 minutes. If you want to find that, it should be like a wide shot of Eden Park after the Blues coach, just Alistair Rogers finishes talking, and then it's a wide shot of the stadium. So I'm gonna skip through to the second half. Sonny Bill looked good, says Big Will. I agree. He's had one of his better games. Right, I'm at 1 hour and 8 minutes now. They're getting ready to kick off. Stephen Luatua's on camera. And we have just kicked off, second half. The tour was typical Gatland, underwhelming against teams worse on paper, and then defying the odds against teams that were better on paper, which is a rare thing you find in rugby. That's a good point, man. They underwhelmed in the first game against like kind of semi-professional guys. They lost to the Blues. I think I put like $50 on the All Blacks to sweep this tour in like 2015. As soon as they opened betting here in New Zealand, I put like $50 on it, and it was paying a decent amount. I can't remember, but as the tour got closer and closer, New Zealand's odds got more and more favoured, so it was going to pay less and less and less. And by the time like this game was happening, I was sure, like, bro, that bet is guaranteed. And then I lost my money. If only we could skip to the second half in real games. You need that chance to go buy a beer or go to the bathroom, go buy some chips if you're at the ground. Although the queues at halftime are pretty bad. Unfortunate for Sonny Bill that he will only be remembered for the Lions tour because he got carded, and that was the reason for the second test loss. That's true. That was a pretty dumb move, that one. I remember when the Blues played at Suncorp a few years ago, and Luatua gave me a hongi after the game as he was signing autographs. That's awesome. That's pretty bloody cool. He seems like a nice guy. What do you think of Bowden being wasted at fullback? They made the same mistake with Cullen at centre. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised New Zealand, like the All Blacks, haven't put their foot down. Like, they essentially told the Chiefs to play DMAC at 10 last year. I'm kind of surprised the Blues are being allowed to play Black at 10 and Bodie at fullback. But maybe the Blues have told them we'll just do it for a few weeks until we can get things right. I don't know. I'm not sure how much influence the All Blacks have, but It generally seems to be a lot. What was the feeling in New Zealand after the drawn? Whoa, was that another try? Man, Rico was so dangerous this time, wasn't he? They're going to check it. Checking bloody everything. What the hell is a hongi? It's a Maori greet, like the equivalent of shaking hands, but instead you touch noses. What was the feeling in New Zealand the day after the drawn game? It was pretty bad actually. It was full of talkback calls, blaming the ref for not giving us that penalty for the accidental offside. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Yes, I figured that, Des. I can still see your picture. That hasn't changed, so I knew that was you. Right, they're going to have a look at this one. That Tipperick calling for more people blindside. He does it. It looks like Rico. Oh, his foot's in touch. Oh, that wasn't Tipperick. That was Noel. We actually need more tens. Too many good outside backs. Foot in touch. I think the All Blacks are okay for 10. You got Bodie, you got Richie, and then you got Josh when he's fit. Do you think anyone has a chance at the number 13 with Goodhue in? Well, Goodhue's been playing 12 with Enor at 13 for the Crusaders. So you never know. Hilarious to hear what a hongi is. I've always touched the tip of my nose with my pet dog. See me doing a hongi at the time, never realised it. Yeah, I've only done them a few times. I wouldn't say it's that common in New Zealand. Probably depends where you're at. But like the university I work for is pretty big on that kind of stuff. So if you go to the marae, which is like the Maori meeting house, then you'll probably end up doing a hongi. Blue should be miffed with a few calls against the Crusaders. Yeah, maybe. I don't want to blame the ref for that one. ALB is underperforming the season, and most of the Chiefs squad, man. And most of the Chiefs squad. Anyone looking forward to seeing Milner Scudder back in Super Rugby? When's he ever going to be fit? Have they named their next squad? That guy's just on the injury list constantly. Same in South Africa after Box lost the pool match, mad at French refs, but the final made up for it. I remember the backlash after that Box game. Like, yeah, the comment section in my review of it was a lot of angry Springbok fans. I think I even made a video like a day or two later being like, kind of something like, don't blame the refs. It wasn't targeted at South Africans, but it was just that was the most recent example of it. Like, we've done it a few times here in New Zealand. Wayne Barnes was public enemy number one for a long time. And then, yeah, after the Lions tour, same deal. So it just seems to be a thing. Rico peaked too soon. Maybe that's why he's been so desperate to move to the midfield because he's been gunning for a midfield spot spot for like a couple of years. Maybe he just felt it coming. Who knows? Oh, the Blues are just throwing the ball straight into touch. Goodness me. Rico probably won't make the All Black 23 now. Yeah. It's congested in that midfield as well. If Laumape can't make the All Blacks in the midfield, can you see Rico making it there? I guess at least Rico's got the potential to be like a guy who can cover wing and centre. Lions are odd. Watch the third test in Edinburgh with an English guy. Weird expectation that we support the same team. Yeah, I guess that's fair. It is kind of unique in that element, eh? Angus Gardner ref the Ireland-Japan game. Many of us Irish called for his head, and it was World Rugby had told Schmidt 3 offside calls by Gardner were incorrect. Excuse how poor we were. That's a fair point, and that sometimes when a ref has a bad game and your team has also played crap, it's easier to blame the ref than be like, okay, sure, so the ref got this, and this wrong, but we also like knocked the ball on this times and we missed these tackles, and you know what I mean? Like I remember that because it's the most recent example, but that pool game that the Springboks lost to the All Blacks, like the refs scrum in particular was like really poorly officiated. But like the Springboks, who have just been one of the best defensive teams, their tackling that day was terrible. Like their stats were like 70 something percent at one point, I think. And it's like, okay, you can blame the ref for part of it, but some part of it's got to fall back on your own guys. Same with when the All Blacks lose games. Oh, bro, James Parsons with a massive line break. But, you know, we all get a bit one-eyed sometimes and we just want to blame the ref, not our own players for making mistakes. Jeez, James Parsons had a bit of wheels back then, eh? Lamape is more useful off the bench to add pace and power later on. I guess, but I think he only really covers 12 and maybe 13. They like to play guys who can cover multiple positions. Like, you know, Geordie can probably cover 10, wing, mid, fullback. I hope they sell out the Blues v Crusaders game at Eden Park. After all, it's the last game. We probably won't get any rugby for a while. At least enjoyable rugby. Boy, Keen is... Oh, the All Blacks. Not the All Blacks. The Blues have just knocked it on. Akira with a big run and offload. Not quite there. Oh, yeah. It was a decent attempt. But the pass was just way too low. It was around his ankles. Obviously, he could have caught it, but tough. Last time Parsons had a decent game. He's not that bad. We did slip up the Springboks at the World Cup. Yeah, but like you said, man, you made up for it with the final. Someone asked me on Twitter, like, does the like losing the pool game put a blemish on the like no? Like if you could offer me the All Blacks lose the pool game and win the World Cup, would I take that? Like, yeah, every day of the week, man. Who cares about the pool game if you won the World Cup? I'm a Canes fan and I haven't really been sold on Lamape. Really like Ben Lamb a couple of seasons ago, but I've never been hooked by Lamape. Jimmy Booth, who I have a lot of time for. Lamape, I think, is trying to work on the areas of his games that he's weak. Like I think his defense is getting better, and like they try to get him to kick the ball more, like his distribution, but he's still not the finished article. Remember Lamape most recently for a very unsavory act in the Crusaders game where he was tackled early on. Took exception and threw the ball in the face of the tackler. Should have got a yellow. Yeah. Guys do dumb stuff because, yeah, that stuff pisses them off, I guess. It's hard to keep you cool sometimes. That being said, Alan Wynne Jones, man. He's the ultimate guy for keeping us cool, apparently, if you look at that incident that he had with Marla. Goodness me. Bit left field, but I feel like Petinata could maybe cover another position in a pinch. He's physicality all around game. Solid attacker. Yeah, well, he covers 10 for the Hurricanes. He could probably cover other positions as well. If Laumape had a passing and kicking game like Ma'a did, then he would be lethal. That's the thing. He's like an elite crash ball, tackle buster, line breaker, but he's not an elite like distributor. So yeah, it's hard to get the all round game. You pronounce Polynesian names better than us Polynesians. I don't know about that, but like I said earlier, when someone asked me about what commentators I like Matt Pierce because he really seems to do his homework with all names, like whether it's Polynesian, French, like whatever. He seems to really get the names like as close as he can get them. Like I try to do that. Sometimes I fail, but you know, you got to put in the effort, eh? Ehio West has just kicked a penalty. Happy days. I don't remember that flag that those people are waving around either. Why didn't I grab one of those? Bucky's tackled and gave a headbutt versus Cowan. Yeah, I remember that one from my Dirtiest Players video. I put that one in. Rugby Gareth, how's it going? If you're watching the game clock is at 52:52 and the YouTube clock is an hour, 24 minutes and 24 seconds. So there you go. Tony Johnson is excellent with pronouncing names, especially Polynesian names. Okay, yeah, true. I feel like he's pretty good with the New Zealand guys anyway. Matt Pierce, though, I feel like he's good, like literally across the board. Lamape is the perfect center for a Springbok game plan where distribution and kicking is the last skill needed. So he can replace Dale Inde, you reckon? I forgot about the Marla thing. I guess you could say it was a long dong incident. Oh, and speaking of Marla, there he is. If you guys missed out on the long dong conversation the other day, we're talking about a Taiwanese beer. It's apparently called Long Dong. That's the name of the beer. So, there you go. Is Matt Pierce the French commentator? He's South African. I don't know how to describe him. He's kind of just like an average looking white South African dude. But yeah, he just seems like a pretty consummate professional guy with his pronunciation. And he seems like a good guy because I remember asking once in a review, I said just some throwaway comment like, I wonder if Matt Pierce studied French because his pronunciation of the French names is really good. Oh, Duffy's made a meal of that one, but was he taken in the air? And yeah, somebody asked him on Twitter, "Did you study French?" And he replied like that he took a couple of classes or something, but he tries to brush up on names. When people talk about teams improving in rugby, all I hear in the US is US and Georgia. People are really sleeping on Uruguay. They are literally one of the best tier two nations now. You're right. I don't know why they don't get the same press. But I mean, bro, at the World Cup, they were so impressive. Just don't Google Long Dong. If you're gonna Google Long Dong, you probably need to Google like quite specifically Taiwan beer Long Dong. Then maybe you'll get a safe for work result. George says, I heard that New Zealand rugby will leave Super Rugby competition. There's so much talk about that stuff at the moment. It's kind of doing my head in. But like the latest one is Ian Foster's coming out saying when we go back to Super Rugby, it needs to be something competitive. There's no spots for any weak teams. So make of that what you will. Joe Marler is such a sap. Him and Carl Sinclair, I can't stand either one of them a lot due to my Irishness. Well, at least you're quite aware that you may have a little bit of bias in that one. Or Liam Williams, come on. Sinclair, I feel like is probably a love him or hate him kind of character. Marla, I don't mind his sense of humor, but I guess he will definitely rub some people up the wrong way as well. They're kind of too much of that laddie culture. I can't even imagine the adverts for that beer. I don't know what like the long dong is like the translation of. Like it could be dragon, like Eastern dragon or something. I don't know. I'd have to find out what the characters actually say, but yeah, when they write it in English letters or Roman letters, it's Long Dong. Random South African news. Rumor is plan if the rugby championship doesn't happen, they could do a North v South team that could play 3 games versus each other. That's good. Everyone's thinking of something, right? Everyone's thinking outside the box right now. But I guess kind of good news. Apparently, the Americans have tested some vaccine on 45 people, and early signs are good. So maybe the next test is going to be on like 30,000 people. I read. So maybe we're just all going to get vaccinated, and it'll be just 1 year of disruption. That's like very optimistic, but you know. When it comes to Super Rugby, says Big World Money Talks. Whoever has the biggest check will dictate what Super Rugby will look like. And maybe that's why New Zealand Rugby is kind of swinging around a bit because apparently their deal with Sky at the moment is worth quite a lot. So maybe that's why they feel like they can push things around. Whereas the Aussies, I think, are really on the back foot with their broadcast deal. As a person from here, his tongue was loosened up because we have 11 official languages in South Africa. Ooh, 11 languages, goodness me. I'm trying to think of them. I know Afrikaans, English, Zulu's one, right? And Kosa. I got 4. What are the other ones? Yeah, the characters on Long Dong's label don't read as Eastern Dragon. What's happened there? I am gonna Google Long Dong, by the way. Long Dong beer. Man, I think they should probably take Duffy off at this point. Interesting, they don't actually put the characters on there. Oh, there. Oh, it is Dragon. dragon. What is that, like cave? My Chinese is getting worse over the years. It's definitely a dragon. They're having a look at a clash between Duffy and Liam Williams. I was gonna say, is that fair contest? But it's not looking as good for Liam Williams the more I see it. Talking about translation, says Big Will. When I see the famous soccer player Kaká, his name on the back of his shirt, you have a bit of giggle. Yeah, that means something else here in New Zealand, that's for sure. John Kerwin said on the breakdown the New Zealand teams should integrate with the Japan top league. That's assuming the top league even want the New Zealand teams, eh? I know John Kerwin's got his connection to Japan having coached there, so. Oh, Liam Williams just got yellow carded. Not often you see him getting yellow carded for his aerial work. That's usually one of the best parts of his game. Duffy is a better league player. Might be right. Any talk of a World Rugby driven online broadcaster in the UK is over 3 different pay channels, with 2 of them the cost inflated for football many don't want to watch. Yeah, it's a problem, man. The old solution used to be Rugby Pass, which has the rights in Asia and parts of Europe, and you could use a VPN to just get all the games on one, but they block all VPN traffic now, so it's a bit harder. Yeah, I can't see a kind of one shot kind of fix them all solution for the rights to the games at the moment. Would be nice. Dong would be Eastern Chinese. Yeah, but it's a different Dong. It's not that Dong. I think it's a cave, but I could be wrong. It looks like the character for cave. It's that one, if that's going to show up. Long Dong. That second one. Here's a word you won't believe exists. Try and pronounce it. Oh, I'm not even going to give that an attempt. Were you there live in 2017 to watch this game? Yes, I was watching this game, sitting in the relatively cheap seats behind where the Lions are defending at the moment, as we're at 58 minutes and 52 seconds on the game clock. It's a scrum reset. Jay says, how has it already been nearly a year since the World Cup? That's a scary thought. Damn. A lot has changed in this year, man. Everything's kind of gone to crap, eh? I still remember in, like, was it January? Oh, here we go. Blues forward pass. How many tries has Rico had chalked off at this point? Anyway. Have to say, Blues played some decent rugby in this game. Too bad about the rest of 2017. Yeah, they didn't do that good in Super Rugby. I remember that. Official languages are Sepidi, Sesotho, Setswana, Siswati, Chivenda, Afrikaans. Man, bro, I am ashamed to admit several of those I've not heard of. That's, yeah, ignorance on my part. Rugby Gareth says because we lost 4 months to the virus. Oh, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the sports is pretty secondary to a lot of other stuff that's going on. But yeah, it's just been kind of crap, hasn't it? What are you gonna do? There's a pandemic. What was the last All Blacks game I went to? Must have been the All Blacks against Tonga World Cup warm-up game down in Hamilton where we gave them an absolute hiding, like almost scored 100 points. I think that will be the last one. That may have been the last time the All Blacks played in New Zealand. Alright, we got 20 minutes to go. I think I need to finish this wine, man. It's been sitting around too long. Let's get it done. There we go. Mask up and stay safe. Absolutely. Here in New Zealand, we've mostly been okay. All our new cases are stuck at the border, fortunately, so we still get to have rugby with a decent crowd attendance, but it's funny because one of the things you complain about as a New Zealander is about being so far from everywhere else and the travel costs being expensive, but this is one of the good times to be an isolated island at the bottom of the world, I suppose. I'm glad the World Cup was last year and not this year. 100%, Adam. 100%. I only speak half, but I understand pretty much all of them. Funnily enough, the usual for people is 2 or 3. Wow. That's incredible, man. Most people in New Zealand don't really learn a second language. It's sad but true. But again, we're an island at the bottom of the world, so we don't have like neighbors or other communities for the most part to practice on. They didn't even really teach much Māori when I was a student, which is unfortunate. Bro, the Lions are actually maybe starting to spark now that they've got a man in the bin. Stop teasing me with the wine, says Rugby Gareth. I can only sip coffee. Nothing wrong with the coffee. Save the wine for a bit later. I think if Rugby World Cup was this year, it would have been cancelled, postponed. Who knows till then? Somebody said somewhere on maybe Twitter or Reddit saying, like, remember all our outrage about having a couple of Rugby World Cup games cancelled due to the typhoons. I guess this year puts that in perspective, but still, it doesn't take away from the fact that it was pretty crappy at the time to have those games cancelled. The World Sevens got cancelled. Yeah, that's true. Isn't there a TV channel that's just Māori in New Zealand? There is a channel called Māori TV, which, yeah, I think for the most part is all in Māori. When I was in Australia, I always thought that the Aborigines were a sole indigenous tribe, but it turns out there are at least 200 still in existence. Yeah, there's a lot of different Māori tribes here in New Zealand as well, in terms of our indigenous people. So, yeah. One thing I miss about New Zealand is Fijo is in a decent pie. And Gareth, yeah, I assumed you were Irish, to be honest, because I think when I think Gareth, I think that guy from the 1014, and he's Irish. So, but I know it can be a Welsh name as well, or just any English-speaking country. But yeah, interestingly, Big Will, my aunt lives in Melbourne, and she's got a couple of Fijo trees. She eats Fijos like mad. I think God wasn't the time was amazing for me and us at the end against literally all odds. It was special. Yeah, it was good for South Africa to have that moment and not be disrupted by a global pandemic. Can't say the same for the Olympics, but there you go. It is what it is. Imagine if the virus popped up midway through the World Cup. Exactly, man. It would have been terrible. How do you reorganize that stuff? Halfpenny's just slotted a penalty, so the Lions are within touching distance. I guess that just would have been like what they did with Super Rugby and stuff. They would have just had to cancel it or postpone it. Six Nations has been postponed, not cancelled. They're still going to go ahead with that. Would they have been able to do that with the World Cup? I don't know. Just thankfully it didn't happen, I guess. The Lions have done really well during this yellow card period, man. The Blues have been the worst team during the last 8 or so minutes. Oh, another advantage for the Lions. Oh, good kick as well, but it's just gone too far. I was in the north of Queensland and we went on a tour of the Kuku Yalanji. Oh, the comments have moved as I was reading that one. Tour guide was just fascinated to understand the culture. That's cool, man. I haven't done a proper tour of Australia since I was a child, so I can't really remember much about that kind of stuff. The feeling when you realise the British and Irish Lions may not have made the Super Rugby playoffs hypothetically. If they had had the preparation time that the Super Rugby teams had, then I think they probably would have. The Welsh and Scots are the indigenous tribes of the British mainland. What about the Picts? Is that a thing? Halfpenny doesn't look that big from out wide, but in proportion to his height, he's pretty bulky. Some guys are like that, actually. They don't look that big, but then they can actually be pretty big. Too bad about the Olympics. Yeah, at least it was not during, it was before. We'll be streaming the Super Rugby games this week. Yeah, I think so. At least probably a couple of them. Whether I do New Zealand or Australia, I guess will remain to be seen. I'll have to check the fixtures list. Northbump says I've been to Aussie once in 1985. I was only a little fella in 1985, and I certainly wasn't going to Australia. Ken Owens has just come off. The captain, Rory Best's going on. That's a bit of a blast from the past at this point. 12 minutes to go. It's still pretty tight. It does seem like a game which is played by a team which got off a plane about a week ago and a team which didn't make the Super Rugby playoffs, doesn't it? It's not been fluid. James Parsons is still on. I can't remember who the replacement hooker is. Do you remember Sam Tuitupa? He was small in person, but the bloke hit like a missile, bro. I'm sure he's got some YouTube highlights vids. That guy was ferocious. I'm pretty sure he made Drew Mitchell cry in the game because he tackled him so hard. Yeah, nobody wanted to be hit by Sam Tuitupo. That's 100%. He was like just shoulders. He was not tall, but yeah, a ball of muscle. Interestingly, they said before this game, I watched the first few minutes with the build up. They said Patrick Tuipulotu was supposed to play in this game, but they dropped him because he was late for training. That's pretty. Oh man, dropped for a game against the British and Irish Lions is pretty tough, but you got to be on time, I guess. Right, 69 minutes is just about to tick over to 70 on the game clock, and Halfpenny is lining up a shot at goal. Unsurprisingly, his success rate thus far is 100%. And whoever said it is correct. He does actually look pretty broad at that camera angle. Hello, Ethan. How's it going? We're into the final 10 minutes of this game. Halfpenny's got the kicks. The Lions are in front, 16-15. Who remembers Rene Ranger? Yeah, I think he was in the Sunwolf squad this year just gone, wasn't he? I don't know if he got any games. Ethan, I have been pretty well. Pretty well, I think. Man, I watched that game live and I thought Mitchell was dead. Him and Brian Lima, bugger being in a tackle sandwich by those two. Yeah, the chiropractor. Maybe we should try and find that game to watch. What game was that? I'll see if I can find it so we can do it one Wednesday. Dan Bigger almost made fun of for his kicking routine like he's doing the Macarena. Even I did an impersonation of him during the board lockdown period. But he's stopped doing that in recent years, hasn't he? Rene Ranger, Josh Tuisova. Yeah, there's been a lot of good players, man. Man, these Lions guys are pumped. Look at Sinkler. Him and Itoje are going. And Tana, oh, goodness me. Tana is like in. He's a human meme at that point. That's quite funny. Who do you think will win this weekend between the Blues and the Canes? I hope the Blues can get it done. But I think they're without James Parsons. So go the Canes. Maybe it's fitting that I'm wearing this jacket over this Blues gear. Tana seems so done. Yeah, he seems like he was pretty ready to relinquish the reins to Leon McDonald at this point, doesn't he? James O'Connor remembers Rene Ranger. Yeah, it's just funny that James O'Connor's still around. They just mentioned that he's 30 now. Bro, that guy was playing so young. And yeah, Geordie Barrett all the way, says Ethan. Geordie versus Bodie will be quite the battle. It's just a pity we've not had any Scott Barrett this year. Come on, Blues. That scrum's gone down. Standards off the back. Most hilarious kicking routine is Rob Cook. Watch a video of him. He bends down the sticks out his ass cheeks. Someone once shouted, "You got hemorrhoids." Whoa, okay. I have to watch that. Hoskins student might be out for the weekend's game. You might be right. He did seem to have a bit of a leg injury. So we'll wait to see if the team is named. All jokes, memes aside, do you think it is the Blues' year? Personally speaking, it seems that the Crusaders do have another level to go. Yeah, it seems like the Blues have just stepped up to. Oh, there goes Ehio West. Look at him go. Bro, he had some gas. Not the best first five, but bro, he's quick. And that try was relatively in front of me. So I was probably a pretty happy man at this point. Probably a bit wet still, but yeah. What were we saying? Yeah, I don't think the Crusaders are under threat at the moment. I think the Blues have stepped up to the other New Zealand team's level, and maybe the Chiefs have dropped down to the Blues level, but that's probably the only change so far. Yeah, I think, man, look at Sonny Bill. Defense seems covered, and then West just goes through them. Man, he was quick, West. Good offload from Luatua. Sonny Bill offload, and then West just put the hammer down. West pumped those short legs. There you go. James O'Connor equals Lee Halfpenny plus Justin Bieber. There you go. The Lewis Hall offload. Yeah, I was too focused on the Sonny Bill offload, but the Lewis Hall one in the build up also deserves a bit of credit. Lions 21 schedule has been confirmed. I'll have to check that if you want, mate. I haven't checked it. That's ambitious of them with the current situation, but we'll see. Do you rate Geordie highly in New Zealand? We don't really rate him at all here in England. Bodie is a special player. I would love instead of Ford, but I wouldn't want Geordie at all. Geordie is, for the most part, not very highly regarded here in New Zealand. He's either considered a guy who was only picked for the All Blacks because of his surname, a bit of a bonehead who makes stupid mistakes, but then sometimes he'll have a really good game like he did the other week against the Chiefs, where he'll kick like a 60-meter penalty and just generally be very full of potential and quite consistent. He's a big boy. I still think they rushed him into the All Blacks a bit, but yeah, I don't think he is the most highly rated of the Barretts, put it that way. Lions 2021 is just confirmed to go ahead as of this morning in the past hour or so. Like I said, that's ambitious of them to be making that already, but I guess they have to do something. They can't just wait, because you could be waiting forever. Geordie does seem like he has his moments. Yeah, he gets hit in hits in the face by the ball last week. Drop balls clean cold. Nobody will forget that pass that he threw, like quick line out, intercept, try. So he has boneheaded moments, that's for sure. But he's still pretty young. And like Big Will says, he does have the utility factor, that's for sure. He can cover pretty much everywhere but 9. Oh, Blues have just won a pretty crucial defensive penalty there. Now it's the Blues' turns to celebrate. Geordie should bulk up more to 100 kg and play 12. Bro, how heavy is he? He's got to be close to 100 kegs. If Bowden plays like he did last week, I think the Abbies will let you have him. It was against the Crusaders, I guess, so that's always a bit tougher. The Crusaders make a lot of people look bad. 96 kgs according to Wiki. Okay. He's still a big boy, man. He's like 6'4", 5, 190 something centimeters. Only 5 games before the first test and no midweek games during the test series. Maybe I have to do a video on this. What do you reckon? Damn, we're really good in this game. How did I miss the first time around against a decent Lions team? Bro, I was there and I can't remember half of this game. Admittedly, I feel like a lot of the action has been down this end and I was sitting at that end, so maybe that's why it's all a bit of a blur. Yes, for the video. Okay, I'll have to have a look, man. I reckon I'll do a video on it. Maybe compare it to like this Lions Tours roster kind of thing, like the schedule. I think it'll be interesting. I'd be interested to see what the difference is. There's only about a minute to go. Minute and 15 seconds. This is probably the highlight of a lot of these Blues guys' year because, like I said, they didn't make the Super Rugby playoffs, so this was their game of the year. This was their World Cup final. Whereas the Lions guys are still getting used to being New Zealand. 45 seconds to go. Oh, and the Lions have won a penalty. All the Blues needed to do was run the clock down. Goodness me. Rugby Challenge 4. It's still not out, is it? Is it out? If it's out, I'll buy it. After Rugby 20, I don't want to spend any more money on a rugby game, but what can I do? I bought Rugby 20 during lockdown. Apparently Dan Carter, who is a lot shorter as well, was 92 kilos. Man, then bought Geordie is kind of lean then in comparison. And Big Will, yes, typical Blues, 100%. They stuffed it up. Oh, the Lions messed up the throw. That's it. That's a let off. That's a get out of jail free card. That's it. Blues won the game. Unbelievable. The Lions guys look pretty gutted. Gatland looks not. He's kind of got an unflappable look on him, but I guess it'll get better for him as this tour goes by. Itoje looks frustrated. I swear you get asked about rugby games every time. Yeah, maybe. I haven't played any for years. I only bought Rugby 20 literally because we were in lockdown and stuck home all the time. And there's no rugby on TV, so I was like, buy a rugby game, go on. There's only 3 All Blacks I'd currently want in the England starting 15. Retallick, Smith, and Bodie. Possibly McKenzie at fullback. But Daly is decent. Artie Savia. He's not been in great form since he's come back from injury, but I still rate him. And I think, yeah, you've already got Smith. Perenata maybe is your second 9. I think Smith and Perenata are probably better than the 2 England first and second 9s. Were we that much better, or did the Lions suck? Yeah, they're probably rusty as. They've only just got in the country. The Blues are at the end of their season or mid-end of their season, so yeah, it's a midweek game for the Lions. It's like I said, kind of a World Cup final for the Blues. Yeah. Rugby 20 didn't hit it off for me. It's pretty average, bro. I've been playing it on Twitch, but it's not been the best, to be fair. Did I play rugby myself? Not much, man. Only at school, kind of lunchtime stuff. I never played club. We played bull rush. I was pretty skinny as a kid, so yeah, I never played the formal game, man. I would have been crunched. I played cricket because I was more like a fast bowler's build, even though I was more of a batsman. Apparently, the British and Irish Lions are only playing the Bulls, Stormers, and Sharks. Not the South African Lions, bro. Lions against Lions. We need that game. Savi is someone I respect a lot. No team is very comfortable if he's on the other side. Both teams suck, but the Blues just happen to have Sonny Bill Williams. That might be the fairest comment of all. Rico definitely looked sharp, even if he did have a few tries chalked off and he had a bit of gas. So, yeah. Well, that was nice for me to watch. To watch back a game that I remember going to. Not that I could remember much of the game itself. Possibly for good reason. I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to think about what we're going to watch next time if we're going to do one of these kind of historical games. I'm sure there'll be something good to watch. But, yeah. You guys all take care. I'm going to get ready to hit the sack. Still another day at work tomorrow for me. And then Super Rugby Australia and New Zealand this weekend. So, yeah, take care, everybody. Stay safe. If you're in a place that needs to wear a mask, just wear one. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Avoid crowds of people. All that jazz. And, yeah. You guys take care. I'll see you guys again for the next one. See you, everybody.